Cool.
Cool.
Cool. Cool.
Coat.
Right.
Right.
Cool in.
First word pops in your head.
Wag.
What?
Wag.
Cat?
Wag.
First word pops in your head.
Wag.
There we go. Alright. You're going to have a test tomorrow
What?
on those 4 words. Yeah. You're gonna have a test.
Wag.
How are you going to go home and study for it?
What was that word? We ain't got no school. Money.
I wasn't even listening, so I'm not. How are you going to go home and study? How are you going to remember it?
What?
You're going to look it up.
What? Money.
How many of you are going to go home and like, oh yeah, and you're going to completely blow it off, and then tomorrow you come back and you come in here and I hand out the test, and what are you hoping is going to happen?
I don't know the bathroom.
The short-term memory is going to kick in, right? How many of you are going to like, okay, I'll take notes and I'll write it down? Some of you are going to like think about this moment. You're going to be like, who was there and who said what? Yeah, I remember that. In every case, how did you just react when I said, okay, there's going to be a test on it? There's a part of everybody where the minute somebody says there's a test, good or bad, you prepared for it, you didn't prepare for it, you didn't know it was coming, you did know it was coming. There's a part in which we all go, I hope I can do this. Driver's license test, big ones for getting, you take tests all the time in athletics. You take tests every time you send in an application for something, and you hope that you get the job. You hope you get the interview. You hope you get into that school. So test anxiety is very common, actually. The kind of test anxiety I'm going to be talking about today is a kind where it helps your performance. There's another kind of anxiety that's actually serious or severe, and I'll talk about that a little bit, but that's not what we're talking about today. That kind of anxiety, yeah, it's bad. It's mental illness, and that's a whole other discussion, and you'll when I describe it, you'll know. What I'm talking about today is just that general feeling of butterflies, or that moment of, I've got a test, I forgot, or I forgot to study. That feeling of momentary panic, how am I going to cope with this? When you look at it, and I wish I could show you the PowerPoint a little bit, just to give you some sense of like a little guy, what he does on the slide. Test anxiety is kind of that moment of, you get lost for a minute. It's almost like you lost your keys, you lost your debit card, you lost your cell phone. And you have this moment of, what am I going to do now? Most of the time, how do most of us respond? You start taking the test, and what do? You go blank. You do the easy ones first. Then what do? You do half the test. Say it again. You guess. Sometimes you get up and walk out of the room like, you know what, I don't have it today. I just take the F and go on. Everybody's responses to that is different, but eventually what tends to happen, hopefully, you take the F, you take the low grade, maybe you studied and you just stayed up too late, you forgot it all, you have the moment of anxiety, and it passes. People who have severe test anxiety, it doesn't go away. So they have it all the time. Every time they face a difficult situation, they face that panic. So one of the things I want to highlight for you is, if you feel like you might have a test anxiety problem, that's a good moment to kind of sit there and think, well, wait a minute, what does that really mean? Because if you get a little nervous before you take a test, it's a good thing. Stress motivates you. Think about when you have to make a run and practice. Think about when you had to pass your driver's test and finish your driver's license. Think about taking the kinds of tests that we don't really call tests, things like moving, making life transitions. Those are tests in life. How you handle that will give you a sense of kind of how you approach anxiety. So stress can be a real motivator. Physically, what happens? You start sweating a little bit. You might start fidgeting a little bit. You start scratching your head. You start kind of shifting around in your seat in your classroom setting. You start kind of, where's my stuff? Where's my keys? Where's my backpack? You start flipping through the pages of the test. you start thinking, how am I going to cope with this? All of those things are actually really normal, because it's your body's attempt to sit there and work out what you're going to do and to try to cope. And that fight or flight response kicks in. Anxiety is really part of that. But how you respond to that emotionally and psychologically is also part of how you can deal with it. Stress becomes an enemy when it's the thing that you're focusing on rather than the test. So you get so caught up in the drama, you get so mad at yourself, you sit there through the test, you're cursing at yourself, you're going, God, I wish I hadn't gone out last night. I wish I'd studied last night. I knew I should have been playing. And you're sitting there cutting yourself down and creating drama for yourself while you're taking the test. That is the destructive part of test anxiety. When the focus of the stress becomes the energy point, what's actually happening to you? Your body's actually breaking down, your brain processes are actually breaking down because you're focusing more on how you feel like you screwed up than you are about passing the test. So becoming aware of what you do with your test anxiety can actually be the first thing to help you fix it if you have it. And the other thing I should say is everybody in this room at one time or another is probably going to have test anxiety if you don't have it. At one time in your life, something's going to come up where you don't feel prepared and you get a little nervous about it. How to stop the negative. You look on the next page. You can stop for a minute and just daydream. You've ever been in the middle of the test and suddenly you realize you've been spacing off? Your brain is actually trying to calm you down. Maybe you visualize having the success that you were worried over. And you think about what it would look like for you to pass that test or to have a positive experience. One of the first things to do in a test anxiety situation is to go through and answer all the questions you do know. That's praising yourself for what you already know. That's taking the skills that you already have and making them work for you. What tends to happen when you do that is that you start to calm yourself down and you, instead of focusing on the panic and focusing on what you don't know, you start to calm yourself down and figure out what you already have, what skills you already have. What were the things that you were supposed to remember? What are the 4 words? Food was one of them.
Cool.
Swag.
Money.
Hat. So, notice what happened. When you first walked in and I was like, there's going to be a test, and everybody gets a little panicked, and everything gets kind of heightened, and everybody gets kind of keyed up. And then what happens when you kind of settle in, calm down, that memory comes back. There's a couple other things I'm going to talk about test anxiety and memory here in a minute that might surprise you. Dealing with physical tension. You might be the kind of person who actually, you get into a test situation, especially a big one. Maybe you're lining up to run something, and your hands might shake, or your legs feel a little wobbly, or suddenly you can't concentrate.
What are you doing?
A couple of things you can do. Does anybody know what focal breathing is? You ever heard that term? No? Dancers, particularly ballerinas, you know how they do lots and lots of spins? Acrobats do it. The first thing they're taught from one of the very earliest ages, age 8, age 9, is to find a focal point on the wall, stare at it, and start spinning. And what they learn to do is do multiple spins, one after the other. They might do 20 in a row, and they have to learn how to stop and plant a turn, and then keep from falling over. You try it, and you find that you spin around 10 times and then try to leap through the air. It's pretty hard. They're actually quite incredible athletes. Focal breathing is the same thing. You find something to focus on, and then you breathe. Most people breathe from about here to about here. Your lung capacity is actually from here, from roughly here to about down here. And your lungs fill up like balloons. So in test anxiety, what are you doing? You're sitting there breathing, going, you're panicking. So if you focus on your breathing, what's going to happen? You're going to breathe more slowly, you're going to expand your ribs, you're going to expand all of your body and your inner organs, and you're going to slowly calm yourself down. That's focal breathing. Some people think about like their fingertips, or they think about their toes, or they concentrate right on the breastbone, or right around their forehead, or they stare at some place along the wall. And focal breathing will calm you down in a moment like that. Even if you aren't experiencing a great deal of test anxiety, it will help you concentrate to do that. A body scan, similar sort of thing. You kind of just sit for a minute in your chair and go, okay, let me just relax for a minute. Does anything bother me? Am I tense? Am I upset? Am I jumpy? The next time you're in a classroom is fascinating. Watch what everybody's doing in the room. There's always like this moment where everybody gets really like shifted in the seat. Everybody fixes their clothes. Everybody's uncomfortable. Somebody gets up and leaves. There's always that moment. And especially in a testing situation. Somebody starts coughing and 30